Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We're from Group 4, and today we're going to present a journal article with the title of Favorable and Unfavorable Teacher Characteristics by Chen. But before that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Diah Savitri, and my last student number is 21.
My name is Karina Safira. My student number is 2019 08 100 00 100 and 27.
So, introduce myself. My name is Rizky Dharmawan.
Hello, my name is Bagas Kurniawan. My student number is 2018 081 0250.
The presentation will be divided into some parts. The first part is introduction, the second one is methodology, the third one is results, the fourth one is discussion, and the last one is conclusion. Without further ado, let's begin with the first part. The teacher is one of the main factors that have a lot of influence on students' achievement. In addition to the teacher's knowledge about the subject matter, other characteristics of the teacher, such as teaching skills, teaching styles, and teaching and personal traits, will also impact the student's learning, attitudes, motivation, and learning outcomes to some extent. Without further ado, let's begin with the first part, which is introduction of the study. The teacher is one of the main factors that have a lot of influence on students' achievement. In addition to the teacher's knowledge about the subject matters, other characteristics of the teacher such as teaching skills, teaching styles, and personal traits will also impact the student's learning, attitudes, motivation, and the learning outcomes to some extent. According to Adams and Pierce, having many years of experience doesn't guarantee expert teaching. Experience is useful only when the teacher continually engages in self-reflection and modifies classroom techniques to better serve the needs of the students. Possessing some characteristics such as knowing relevant subject matters, being able to explain the subject matters clearly, seems to be insufficient to be an effective EFL teacher. EFL teacher should also possess some particular characteristics such as being relaxed, warm, and supportive, and so on, which might facilitate the students' learning and promote good classroom atmosphere. As the teacher factors matters to students' learning, a large number of research have been carried out on the characteristics of EFL teachers, aiming at investigating the perceptions of teachers and students toward the EFL teachers. The majority of the studies mainly aimed at examining what effective or good characteristics of EFL teachers were. You can see the studies in the video file that have been shared. The review with research works demonstrate that there are differences in how the students perceive the characteristics of the EFL teachers. The perceptions about the characteristics of EFL teachers may depend upon the settings in which teaching and learning occur. To the best knowledge of the researcher, no previous studies in Thailand have been conducted to explore both the favorable and unfavorable characteristics of EFL teachers. The purpose of the study was to shed some light on the characteristics of EFL teachers from the perspective of the students regarding the two aspects. Above all, for Pengacavalatikul University students, perceptions of this matter have never been investigated before. For these reasons, the researchers would like to sort out what favorable and unfavorable characteristics of EFL teachers, as perceived by the students, with the hope that the investigation will bring about some benefits and indications to the EFL teachers, and help them to do some adjustment in their teaching and create more productive atmosphere in the classroom. The next presentation will be shared by my friend.
Methodology participants. 16 undergraduate student from Fakultas University from science-oriented faculties and other faculties. Instrument. They were given an open-end questionnaire and semi-structured interview by the research. Data collection through semi-structured interviews and open-ended questionnaires session, and research has found that 6 out of 60 students. Data analysis is open coding, Excel coding, selective coding. The interview were recorded and transferred into Thai and translated to English.
Today, I will explain you about the results from the favorable and unfavorable teacher characteristics according to students in a university in Thailand. So, based on the analysis of questionnaire and the interview data, the researcher arrived at the following findings. In order to facilitate the description, Q&I were used to represent questionnaire, respondents, and interviewees respectively. So, there are two main characters which can cause favorable and unfavorable teacher characteristics. The consists of the two parts, personality traits related characteristics and teaching related characteristics. If you want to know in the future, it's time to going to go down, see the diagram. Okay, this is the personal trait related characteristics. It was included emotion, kindness, fairness, leniency, and responsibility. The first part is the emotion. Emotion refers to the teacher's sense of humor, temper, and appetence. Some students been reported they favored the EFL teacher who had a sense of humor. Also, they favored the teacher who was humorous and could make some jokes in the teaching process. That could make students feel easy and relaxed in the classroom. Not only that, they can study actively and have enthusiasm for the study. They said the good language teacher should have a good temper, should be in a good mood, and should be calm. In their view, they didn't like the teacher who get angry and annoyed easily. The second part is kindness. Kindness was composed of the teacher's kindness, friendliness, and politeness towards students. Most of students believe that a good EFL teacher must be very kind, polite, and friendly. To them, a good teacher should be friendly and easygoing. They favored the teacher who was polite and spoke with smiles. Some students say that a good language teacher could understanding the students' feelings, thoughts, backgrounds, language skills, and abilities. The third part is the fairness. Fairness was inclusive of the quality and impartiality. The teachers should treat the students equally and have no bias to them. They didn't like the teacher who only paid attention to some certain students and ignored the others. Leniencies in the fourth part. Leniencies was emphasized by some students. So flexibility and leniency are also very important and needed to an effective teaching. Many students thought that they liked a teacher who was too strict and serious all the time without the flexibility. Briefly, students really hate the teacher who was too strict, also serious all the time without the flexibility. The final part is of responsibility. Some students started a good language teacher which must have strong intention to teach. They showed their preference that the teacher would teach them individually. Some students showed negative attitude to the teachers who were lazy to teach and went into the classroom without any preparation, including teachers who only gave assignment to the students without explanation and direction. It could also make students feel dissatisfied. So that's the explanation about the personality traits related characteristics. That it's time to go in the classroom teaching related characteristics diagram. So it was the consist of the four parts, like a lesson delivery, language used in teaching, classroom activity organization, and a classroom atmosphere creation. So it's time to go into the lesson delivery. An EFL teacher who had the good teaching skills and techniques was adored by the students. The teaching method of the preferable language teacher must be flexible. Also, they preferred a teacher who didn't just follow the textbook. Some students claimed that they hoped the teacher to teach what was relevant to the subject only. Also, the students didn't like the teacher who always made things complex and confusing, made the incomprehensible teaching, also made the students get lost. Second, the language used in teaching. Some students claim that they would like to the EFL teacher who spoke English and Thai. However, some students hope to study with a Thai teacher only because it would make them easy to communicate with. Some students expressed that they were unwilling to study with a EFL teacher who only spoke English in the classroom. The third is classroom activity organization. The students thought that classroom activity play roles in the classroom. They hope the teacher to organize some good activities to make the study comfy and easy. They disliked the teacher who just talk in his or her own way and didn't organize the activities. So the repair in the last part is some students disliked the teacher who just talk in his or her way and didn't organize activities. And the last part is the classroom atmosphere creation. Many students mentioned the importance of the classroom atmosphere. The students report that they hope to study in the entertaining, comfortable, relaxing, and a pleasant atmosphere. Also, they showed their distaste to the teacher who was too strict and serious. It could make the classroom tedious and boring, which would make the students feel stressed and nervous. So that's my explanation about the results from the chosen article. The next topic will be brought by the next presenter. Thank you.
In this part, I will talk about my part is discussion from my journal group. And discussion my journal is the personal qualities of teacher were important elements to good teaching. The ways and technique of lesson delivery were frequently mentioned by the students. More than half of students expressed their favored the teachers who had good teaching skills and techniques to make teaching content clear and comprehensible. They could ask the teacher questions in that if the could really understand. For this aspect, there were some similarities between the study and change study. And this mean, in this my part is mean, if student not understand from teacher, student will ask to teacher to ask them if no could not really understand. It's the same to say the in the last paragraph in the it said they could ask teacher question in the that if they could not really understand. The same is with my mean. It's enough for me. Thank you for attention. The next part will be clever, my friend. Thank you.
Conclusion. The study investigated the favorable and unfavorable characteristics of English foreign language teachers as perceived by the university student of Thailand. These characteristics were grouped into personal trait-related and classroom teaching-related characteristics. Consulting the information of the study, the English foreign language teachers can do some changes and adjustment in their future teaching to achieve better education results. Knowing about what characteristics the student like and dislike can help the English foreign language teachers do some preparation and adjustment before going into the classroom. There are still some limitations to the present study. The data for the study only included 60 science-oriented major students from 4 faculties in Phongchaphalitkulul University, which was not so representative for Thai University students. That's all from us. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us in the group discussion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.